Hey guys, Yellow13 Ace here. Today I'm going to be doing a video on the ASF-X Shinden II, and this is the second version, and it's the design introduction video. And so I'll just go over some of the logistics, some of the things I've been through recently, and I'll talk about the ASF-X Shinden II design. Um, Okay, so I'm officially done with freshman year at UIUC. A lot has happened, and you guys can ask me about everything. I'll try to do my best to answer about my college life. And if you're interested, just comment below, and I'll respond to that. But basically, I made an update video, but it was super long and it was pretty boring when I watched it. So I chose not to upload it. It was 40 minutes long. Um, but yeah, definitely ask me any questions about how it was like here at UIUC down in the comments. Okay, so right now I'm staying on campus over the summer for classes and work. So um, in addition to that, I'll be doing my own projects. Hopefully I can get my design Icarus made. Uh, it's an RC plane design, so um, I may or may not follow through with that plan because I don't know anything about RC planes, and I just feel like I don't have enough experience to do this. So we'll see. We'll see. I do have a friend who is also on campus, and I'll be talking to him to get into RC more. So that's that. And yeah, this is a new video format, or rather, it's basically my old style of videos, just me talking about planes. Um, I think the problem with my last video, even though the production quality was a lot better, is that it took way too long to make. So I feel like if I talk about the design in person like this on camera, I can pump out much more content. Um, and yeah, I just overall think it would be better if I just talked face to face like old times about my airplane designs. So my new airplane videos will be split into two parts. For each design, I will have a design introduction and discussion, and also a separate flight test footage video. And so I feel like that would be better because people who want to see it fly, who want to see the design just fly, just can wait until the flight video, and people who want to know more about the design can go ahead and watch the design introduction, which is this video. Just a bit of logistics. So yeah, let's talk about the ASF-X Shinden II V2. So this is actually the second version of the Shinden that I've come up with. So I'll actually move this down a little bit so you guys can see. Overall, it's a very nice design. My first version was created a couple of years ago, and it was actually a very basic aircraft with profile structures, which basically means that the design was very, planar, and it was reduced to two planes, and basically paper was slotted together like this, and it's kind of like that, and it's very simple, and structurally it was very weak, and it had a lot of disadvantages. Um, and it was basically the most simple thing you could possibly come up with, and I just did that, and it worked for a little bit. I made some planes based on real life designs, F-22, or not the F-22. The F-22 was made with the new technique, but my older planes like the PAC FA, the F-15, yeah, those all use the profile method. And so this design, ASF-X Shinden II V2, the second version, is a lot better in terms of durability and flight performance. It's a very well-rounded and overall great design. I think it's very streamlined, very low drag, at least from what it looks like in flight. It has great flight performance, horizontal and vertical launches, and so we'll wait until the flight video to see how it actually performs. But from my testing, it looks to be pretty good. So different tuning obviously allows for the different flight modes, and that's something I'll be talking about later. Actually, my last plane was the YX09 Aerius Mark 1. So that one had changing, wing geometry, and I hope to achieve the design goal, which was to create an aircraft that would be able to do both. Um, and actually, this plane can do both. And the problem is that you have to change where the CG is located. I know this looks ugly, and I'll talk about that later, but if the CG is a little bit forward, it's better for distance flights, and if the CG is moved back a little bit, it's better for vertical launches. So actually, I'm thinking about making a YX09 version 2 or Mark 2 with an internal CG shifting mechanism, so we don't have to look at ballast, the weight, externally. It just kind of looks ugly, and it'd be more elegant if we made a mechanism inside that changed the CG. So the model I'm showing here is the ASF-X Shinden II, and it's pretty beat up. I've already tested this design a lot from flight testing, but as you can see, it's still quite intact, despite some hard crashes. And you can see some of the wear and tear on the nose here, and actually here, the wings, I don't know if you can see, but one of the wings actually bent, and there's a crease line right there. And I'll try to fix that with newer structures inside. I actually have a lot of wooden chopsticks from Chinese stakeouts and just the dining hall here at U of I. So I think I'll incorporate some of those into the wing to make it even more stiff. Right now it has straw structures internally, so yeah, I'll get to that. This is the new model, and if you want to learn how to make this design, I already have 5 video tutorials uploaded onto YouTube, and they're on my playlist. They're a bit lengthy, so you can actually on YouTube choose the setting to set the playback speed at 2 times, so you don't have to watch me fumble with paper and stuff. So, but yeah, overall this tutorial, no, not this tutorial, my 5 videos, video series tutorial will teach you how to make this design, this Shinden design. Of course, there are no PDF plans for this. I think I won't make PDF plans anymore because, you know what, these type of things, they need like a lot of attention to detail, and that's something that I think can be done by you. You have to work with the material, and each case, each plane has its own different characteristics, and you need to tailor yourself to that. And I feel like you can learn a lot more if you overall just see how it's made and do it yourself. So I'm not going to make any templates or plans. So sorry for those who want templates or designs. But yeah, so right now I'll talk about the design a little bit. So the new Shinden has been completely redesigned, from the materials that I've used to the internal structure and overall geometry of the design. This Shinden is made from black cardstock, and the paper weight is 176 or 176 grams per square meter, or 65 pounds, and it's made from 8.5 by 11 inch letter paper. So for people in the US, that's the standard letter size paper, and it's made from a lightweight, durable cardstock, and it's really nice. It's very durable. It's a very durable material, and internally, I don't know if you can see right now, but it has straws inside. So if you watch the tutorial on how to make this, you can actually see the internal straw structure that runs along the length of the plane, and it actually increases rigidity that way. I've had a prototype version of this actually bend along the middle, like it just bent, and it was bad. So I implemented the structure to prevent that. And so internal structure has straw wing spars, and I'm looking to replace the straw wing spars with wooden chopstick wing spars, because that's a lot more rigid, obviously, and because I've experienced because it's a pretty sizable distance, right? The wingspan is pretty big, and so with a small force here, it experiences a large torque because the radius is huge. So to make it more rigid, I'll just replace the straws with chopsticks, and they're not too heavy, so it can be done without much sacrifice. So what else? So it's black cardstock, internal structure. The wing root and guard structure is also new on this model. On my very first Shinden, it was it was a profile plane, so this was included. But in a previous in a different prototype, I actually did not include this, and the wing directly had this little corner thing with the fuselage, and that actually made it a lot weaker, and the wing actually ripped along that seam. So what I did here was I used a piece of cardstock that, so imagine the wing is like this, directly goes to the fuselage without the wing guard. Okay, you put the wing guard over both of them, and it creates a seamless, or there is a seam, but it's a lot stronger connection between the wing and the fuselage. So that's what I did here, and actually I think it makes it a lot stronger. And if you try to crush this, you'll actually end up not doing much to the plane because it's that strong. It's a very rigid structure that connects the fuselage with the wings. So this is an important detail of this design. And so yeah, it has a wing guard, and what else? It has a very rigid nose. This is creating using the form-fitting technique, so you can shape the paper around certain edges, and so you can see it's kind of shaped around the nose here, around the paper airplane base. And you can see the contours and shapes. You kind of see the internal straw here too, with that shade or shadow right there. But yeah, this is it's very durable. Overall, this plane is a very durable plane. So that's one of the nice things about this design. So aesthetics. So my older planes used to be all white. This one is all black because I simply ran out of white cardstock. There is no performance difference between white cardstock and black cardstock, and the matte black is actually really nice. It looks really nice in person. It doesn't give off much shine, but the tape that's used to secure the different parts of the plane actually stand out a lot, and I don't really like it. It stands out a little bit too much for my taste, but kind of looks like access panels and hatches. So if you're going for that look, it's matte black is a nice way to show that. But I prefer the white version. The black version looks nice though, so I'm not too worried about that. So the tape, yeah, the tape looks like crap, right? It's not that high quality, but yeah. So basically, if you're using matte black cardstock with Scotch tape, you want to make sure you tape your plane well so that it doesn't look crappy like mine. And also, I don't really like the lower side. It's white, and you can see where I taped the 2/4 for the ballast. It doesn't really look elegant. It's very badly put together. So I hope to fix this with the new internal CG shifting mechanism. The only reason it's left out like this is because when I want to fly it a different way, I just move the quarters back and forth on the plane to shift the CG. So if I make the mechanism internal with the friction lock module, it can actually shift these two coins without having them on the outside, and actually the bottom will look a lot better. But yeah, it overall this plane kind of reminds me of a penguin, because it's white here and everything else is black. And my friend actually recommended to me to make the nose kind of orange, reinforce the nose with orange cardstock. And I was like, dude, that's not cool. But yeah, that was just a joke that my friend threw around. But actually, you could make this look like a penguin if you really wanted to. A flying penguin, that would be pretty interesting. But yeah, I don't really like the underside. I wanted to add more black cardstock to cover everything, but the functionality would be lost. You have to shift this coin to get different performance styles. Yeah, so that's just a problem with this design. Also the tail section is a little bit lame, right? It's very simple. On the actual Shinden, there's that engine nozzle that juts out here, and I think that's a defining characteristic of the plane, because on the actual Shinden there's two tiers of engines, one on top, one on bottom, and it's like VTOL, so it'll point downwards and actually provide thrust so that it can vertically take off and land. So I don't have that detail here, but I do have this trailing edge, dogtooth trailing edge that I implemented here, and it actually looks really nice. I like that. It's a detail that I like about this plane. And so yeah, overall it's very sleek. It's nice flight characteristics, and I think I'll talk about flight characteristics now. It's going to be a decently long video, probably 20 minutes, probably a little bit more, but yeah, I'm going to talk about flight performance now. So this plane has two different flight modes. One is CG forward and one is CG backward. CG forward is straight flight. So this is where the plane just kind of glides horizontally and goes a far distance. And so in this mode, the CG is around the tip of the canard, which is right here, at least for this version of the plane, at least in this model. So it balances right around there, and it actually goes really far. And I'll post the flight video later, but yeah, I'll talk about the different axes of rotation and how stable it is in each of those. So for roll, it's a little bit not stable, possibly due to the slight differences in the wing construction. As you can see, the wing is not completely perfect. Ideally, this would be completely straight, this would be completely straight, and both sides would be symmetrical so that it experiences the same forces and it won't roll towards one side or the other. But in reality, it's really hard to get that level of craftsmanship. And so what happens in this plane is that sometimes it rolls towards one side and then starts banking. It's very sensitive, and I guess you could look at it as an instability, but you can also say that it's highly maneuverable. And it's actually, being highly maneuverable is something that this plane is good at, because in real life, forward sloped wing designs are known for their extreme agility. And so yeah, roll is a little bit not stable, but pitch is actually very stable, except for when it rolls. When it rolls, it bangs towards one side and then like pulls up like that kind of, and then crashes. So when you correct for it with aileron adjustment, it flies a lot better. I've actually noticed that if you put more space between the canards and the main wings, you get more pitch stability. So the closer the canards are to the main wings, the less stable it is. And so that's a design trade-off between looks, which I think if you place it closer a little bit to the main wings, it looks better. But if you put it too close, it won't look too nice. And if you put it far up the fuselage, it'll look a little bit weird, but it'll look nicer and it'll fly better. So it's like it's like you have to adjust and look at the aesthetics and the function. And overall, though, it functions a lot better when the canards are forward rather than back. So keep that in mind when you're making your own Shinden design. Okay, so yaw. Yaw is not much of a problem on this plane, especially since the vertical stabilizers are extended a lot behind the main wings and thus the CG, which is the center of gravity. So it's not much of a problem. Again, due to craftsmanship issues, it might be sensitive. This plane might be a little bit sensitive, but overall, it's not much of a problem. Actually, I use the vertical stabilizers, which are angled in a V shape, for yeah, I use them as de facto elevators. So when you point this in, you know, because of the slant angle, it produces a lifting force that goes this way. And since it's angled like that, there's a component that goes up. So it's like an elevator type action. And actually on the F-22, it's also angled like this. And when it lands, when the plane lands, they actually make the stabilizers point out. Like both the V-tails, or both the stabilizers point out, and then it acts as an air brake because it pushes the nose down, and you know, it's just an interesting way to use vertical stabilizers other than for yaw. You know? So there's that. So yaw is not much of a problem, and high altitude launches they're okay. They're when the CG is back around the wing guard area, so which is around this area, it helps the aircraft pull out of very steep dives, and a little bit of up elevator or in vertical stabilizer doesn't hurt. It actually helps it pull out, and so pitch is nice like that, and roll is also very stable in high altitude launches, because I think, you know, during descent, what I think is happening is that the airflow is working its way around the V shape. So imagine air flowing upwards like that, and it kind of, you know, stabilizes the roll, right? So it doesn't like tilt towards one side, because if you do this, if you angle yourself like this side experiences more drag, and then so it pulls up like that, and it's like a balancing act between the two, right? So there's that aspect of roll that makes it really stable, and it orientates the plane upright. So, and actually this is an interesting insight, because that means I can actually point the vertical stabilizers inwards a little bit. So instead of being like this, I can put it in, point this in, and then possibly get more yaw stability if yaw were a problem. So that's a design insight that I might implement sometime in the future. So for roll and pitch, it's all good. Yaw is also not much of a problem. When vertically launched, the plane is very, it looks like it's very locked into the air, and it has a very stable flight path. So it's really nice. But yeah, overall, in conclusion, this design performs really well. It's a lot higher quality compared to the first version, and you can go on my channel and search for the first version. It's very crappy, but this is a lot better. This is a lot better in terms of durability and flight performance. And I think those go hand in hand. You know, when it's made with better craftsmanship, and when it's more durable and you know, solid, it flies better. My other one, my profile planes, they didn't really fly outside, and this one can actually go up really high, and I'll get to the flight video eventually. But yeah, if you want to make this plane, the tutorial is available on my channel, Y13A, in a playlist. I think I made a playlist for it, so so you can go watch it there at 2 times speed, because I'm really slow when I make these things. You want to take your time and put the best craftsmanship you can into this plane, because overall, you know, this plane is, it's not it's not like, you know, the classic schoolyard paper airplane, the Dart or the Nakamura Lock. This is a much higher quality aircraft that you can fly for months on end. I made this over 3 months ago, and it still flies. You know, and so it's a completely different level. And so if you put in the time and the craftsmanship to make a good model, you'll have a much better plane. That's durable and that can perform really well. So I think that's my new that's like the new like type of plane that I'm making, right? You can go on YouTube. You can go on YouTube and search for other types of airplanes, like the origami type airplanes. Those are nice, right? They're easy to make. They have lots of tutorials and they fly, but they're not going to fly for a long time, right? They're not going to be durable. This, however, is extremely durable. The nose is extremely hard. Wings are extremely rigid. Has an airfoil, right? It's a lot higher quality, and I think you can see that. You know, despite the tape issue, that's one thing. If you're using matte black, do pay attention to the tape. But yeah, this is you know, my new planes. You know, I make them with durability and you know, long-term use in mind. You know, even though it's paper, you can still make a really nice product if you put in the time and effort. And of course, you got to use the right materials. But yeah, that's basically the whole idea, philosophy, I guess, behind the way I design things and make them durable, make them work, you know, function, and yeah. So that's basically it for this video. Giving you guys a design introduction for this plane. And I do realize I made this plane a couple, maybe 2 years ago, and I haven't made an official video for it, but I'm doing it now, and this is my new video format. So, you know, I went over that stuff in the beginning of this video, the logistics. I'm just gonna introduce these designs on camera because that's a lot easier, and it, you know, makes post-production a lot faster, and so I can pump out more content. And so, yeah. So yeah, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll try my best to answer all of them. Please subscribe to this channel if you want to stay in touch with my latest projects. And yeah, until next time, it's Yellow 13 Ace, and yeah, see you guys next time. Thanks.